so many policies. I spend a lot of time in policy, which I never knew this about myself, but it's actually super fun.
Welcome to Innovation Springs. I'm your host, Hayley Blackburn, Innovation and Design Librarian, Program Director in C3 Innovation, and Affiliate Faculty with the Center for Research Frontiers in Digital Humanities. Now, this show spotlights the folks doing cool things across education, research, business, and thought leadership.
Today, I talked to a staff member and PhD student who has seen UCCS through many roles and evolutions. My favorite part is how she shaped undergraduate research programs for our community.
You can find more information and notes about the show at c3innovation.uccs.edu. Let's dive into the spring.
So my name's Jennifer Poe. Currently, my role is the Director for Faculty Affairs. I've been at UCCS now for just over 7 years professionally. I was also a graduate student here a few years ago. I'm also now, again, a graduate student. I'm in the Leadership Research and Foundations PhD program. So I work here professionally, also as a student, and I've worn a lot of different hats here. When I first came here professionally in the end of 2018, I was hired as a project coordinator for an NSF grant that the then Associate Vice Chancellor for Research, Dr. Jessie Smith, had received. And so that project it was really cool. It was a partnership between UCCS and San Diego State University. And we were looking actually kind of like nationwide the influences on what helps faculty adopt evidence-based interventions in their classrooms that we know help students, especially students from underrepresented backgrounds, students who are first gen. So we have a lot of evidence of these projects or these interventions working, but there seems to be a disconnect on like, when do faculty implement them? So it was a really great introduction, really built on my strengths as my background is in psychological science. So it was like social psychology based research. It was really fun. And from there, the next hat I got added to this was I became the director for the Center for Student Research in 2019. So it was a brand new center that was opened again by Dr. Smith. And this center was really focused on being like kind of a central hub on campus to support our student researcher body. It's a really hard metric to track on how many student researchers we actually have, but we have a lot, and they're all engaged in really different ways, usually working with faculty mentors on original research like knowledge generation. So it's just really, really fun. It's really great to be able to support them. So, and so I did that. I was also, we earned another grant that was again kind of much more faculty focused. And this is an NSF advanced grant to support mid-career faculty in their promotion to full professor. And so we're really looking kind of more culturally at UCCS and the ways that we can better support our faculty to make that kind of next leap in their career. So again, really social psychology focused, but we also implemented a lot of other strategies. It was really fun to document the results of that and share that with campus. And kind of stemming from that really led me into my newest role here, which is Director of Faculty Affairs. So brand new office opened, I guess we can say. It came into being in the fall of 2025. And so this office is really, its foundation is to support our faculty from recruitment all the way through retirement in every kind of, all the different milestones that come along with that. And so a day in the life of that is, it's different every single day. Sometimes I'm planning events. Sometimes I'm reading through so many policies. I spend a lot of time in policy, which I never knew this about myself, but it's actually super fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. It's weird. Didn't know this, but so I spend a lot of time in policy and just making sure that the processes and procedures we're following are also aligned with policies that are provided to us. And then also seeing ways that we can make improvements. I think there's always there's always a better way to do things. And so finding ways that are going to be most beneficial to our faculty and to our students is what I love to dig into.
Oh my gosh, what a journey.
Sorry.
Like, you have been with UCCS, like our community, for a long time in such a variety of roles. I am curious. So, right, you have been a grad student, you're currently a PhD student, and your role as director is a staff role. And so I'd love to hear just a little bit about, how you've maybe experienced or see how that grad student kind of PhD education is helping you in a staff role in a university, since so many, we associate, you get your PhD to be a professor, but there's actually a lot of other paths that prepares you for and could take.
Yeah, absolutely. This particular program is kind of the track I'm in is really focused on research in higher education. And if I think about, the grants I had worked on, I was really doing research in higher education already as a staff member still. So I think it's really, really helpful in just helping frame, what are going to be the most useful theoretical frameworks we might apply to a given context, a different subset of parts of higher education. Yeah. So I think it's been really helpful, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to be part of that and still work here too. So
amazing, right? It's like those theoretical frameworks, we use them for research, but ultimately they are helpful to make decisions and solve problems and move things forward, whether it's a research or a leadership structure or like an organization.
Yeah, exactly. Super helpful you don't have to start from scratch. There's, people have been doing these things a while. It can kind of build from there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we definitely love in, C3 innovation, that idea, right? It's being curious about maybe what's come before, what's going on in your world, and then also being creative with sort of being inspired from what's been tried. How can we iterate and adapt? So we definitely are big fans of don't reinvent the wheel just because you haven't taken the time to know that there are wheels out there you could understand.
Exactly.
So with that, how do you really define like innovation or inspiration kind of in your work or your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. In thinking about it, whenever I run into, an existing procedure, an existing system of how it goes in, be it policy or, whatever system's already kind of been established, I'm always asking, but why though? Especially if it's not working for everybody. So that's the thing is is it the most efficient and is it the most equitable? And if it's, one but not the other, or if it's neither, what can we do to improve it? So I guess I feel like my definition of innovation would be, how can we creatively address problems we see that, that reshape it in a way that that's going to benefit the most people.
Yeah.
And because, looking at it, okay, how is it now and what's not working? So I love tinkering and trying to see how can we make it better?
Improve. I love that. Community is the third pillar of what innovation kind of means to us. And so, hearing that importance of, okay, let's tinker, let's really think, figure out what those gaps in, service or support or engagement are, so that way we can improve it for the community is so important across every area.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think you have a breadth of options to choose from here, but can you tell us about maybe a project or an initiative that you felt really pushed you to be innovative, or you look back on and think wow, we really created something that helped the community?
Okay, let's see. When I became director for the Center for Student Research, I also got to take on the role of leading Mountain Lion Research Day.
I love Mountain Lion Research Day.
It's the best day.
If anyone's watching, listening,
It's
if
true.
you have not gone to Mountain Lion Research Day in the fall semesters, December usually.
It's usually a first or second Friday in December.
Absolutely got to go. It's great. I love it.
It really is. It's the best day on campus. So we bring together students, faculty, even staff, and they're all presenting their research and their creative works in kind of a half-day showcase. It's so much fun. So I got to take the lead on that. in 2020.
Okay.
So
Oh, that's a tough year to
it was
take the lead on
so
it.
great, so great. So in that case, had to really, pivot, be like, do we just cancel it? What do we do? So we were able to like make it like a mountain lion research week. We actually did kind of a virtual series of presentations. We saw a lot of presenters get to showcase their work and everything. But since then, kind of coming out of the COVID pandemic, really worked to intentionally like build connections with faculty, really do a lot of outreach to students, making sure that they know this is a really great opportunity. And so we're able to really increase not only our participation, we're back to like even surpass pre-pandemic presentation numbers. So we have over 100 presenters now in the last each of the last 2 years, and we've also just gotten so much more engagement from the campus and the surrounding Colorado Springs community too, actually coming to see our student presenters. So we had over 400 attendees at the last Mountain Lion Research Day. So really just trying to it's about fostering those connections with people. Be like, hey, this is a really great opportunity. Make sure you can, come share your work with others. Like they want to hear about it, and you put all the work into it. So
Right. Make sure to share.
celebrate it. Yeah.
Oh, how do you approach kind of getting the larger community, like outside of campus, to know about these events and, come and check out research? What's that experience been like?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in like smaller businesses, locally owned businesses. I'm thinking like Poor Richards, of course, or like
Also love.
yeah,
Love.
right. I love that place. He was my neighbor growing up as a kid, so him and Pat
Okay.
were it was so great. But yeah, spending time and also like local coffee shops. I have Carnelian Coffee near me, and just asking, hey, can I put up a flyer, or have you heard about this? And just kind of those little connections, and then also just sharing things on like Peak Radar. You can post for free on these calendars that are shared to our community already, so bring them in.
Oh my gosh.
And then
Okay.
it's so funny because right before I handed over the director position to my colleague, Dr. Kelly McNear, I had been trying really hard to get a news station to come to Mountain Lion Research Day.
Yeah.
And I'd reach out to him. I'm like, come on, this will be really great, you guys. You don't know what you're missing. Finally, they reached out after the last Mountain Lion Research Day, and they're like, hey, I think we want to do a story on this. I'm like, okay. Do it next year. I'm going to be there. But,
Right. But
yeah.
you set the foundation to, make
Yeah.
that connection, so that way
Yeah.
we can continue. And, that's, I think, part of being an innovator and just like our entrepreneurial kind of ethics and spirit is also like building foundations, so that way there's kind of a legacy to grow. And I
Yeah.
definitely think you've built a really good legacy for Mountain Lion Research Day and model that will continue.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
So-
I love that. What other kind of initiatives or programs did you come up with to help kind of our student researchers?
Yeah, another role I had as Center for Student Research Director was I inherited directing the Undergraduate Research Academy, which has been in place actually since 2013. It's a super cool program where students and faculty apply together for it's now a $4,000 award for summer. And so the faculty member, in collaboration with the student, writes a research proposal. The student provides a personal statement, and then all these are reviewed. So it's a competitive award. We have faculty members review each application, and then a select number are awarded this money to fund their research over summer. And it's when I took on this role, I was actually lucky enough. I received some facilitator training from a program up in University of Wisconsin-Madison called the Center for Improving Mentored Research Experiences the Center for Improving Mentored Experiences in Research.
That's quite the acronym.
Yes.
Like
Similar.
a lot of words to remember.
Yes. I probably still messed it up. But so I receive facilitator training there, so they kind of give you this whole introductory to this really wide curriculum they have. It's evidence-based curriculum for helping onboard novice researchers into kind of that research space. And so the URA students come from all different disciplines, though. So kind of the challenge there is, okay, how do I select workshops? So they have to participate in at least 4 workshops over summer. How do I select workshops that are going to work for my biochemist and my philosopher and somebody in nursing and psychology, right?
Yeah.
So they're from all over, and so it's really fun to like find those, kind of tailor them, and then just watch the students like grow in their confidence as a researcher from like when they first come in, they're like, my faculty member gave me some reading, I didn't understand it, to the end, they end up presenting at Mount Lane Research Day. They present their novel, brand new research at Mount Lane Research Day. So that program is fantastic, still ongoing. Applications are open right now too. So if you are a student or a faculty member looking for a student, please apply. It's a great opportunity.
Nice. And so that runs over the summer. Is there a version that runs during the like academic year? Is it mostly just a summer program with applications opening like every spring?
Yeah, it is just a summer program. So applications open usually every February and they close usually after spring break.
Okay.
And then the programming really starts in the summer. So after Memorial Day, you'll participate in 4 workshops, one of which is a responsible conduct of researcher training, which is
Key.
it's key. It's key for all disciplines too.
Yes.
And then the expectation is that they will present their research either at Mountain Lane Research Day, or we have another local conference called Colorado Springs Undergraduate Research Forum, or CSURF, and that happens in April. So if your project's taking a lot longer, because things come up in research, it never goes as planned. You get some more time so you can gather more data or kind of finish up your analyses for April.
Okay, that sounds like a really great program for undergrad students. Are there requirements for, like how many credits a student has earned to be eligible, or what kind of type or level of undergrad student are you looking for?
That's a great question. So they do need to be a junior in standing by summertime. So we're looking for somebody who's at least completed that number of credits. When I took it on, there used to be a GPA requirement. I did actually get rid of that because it didn't seem necessary, and we might be really missing a lot of students who, classes are more challenging or less interesting, but they can still be really, really strong researchers. So we actually got rid of that. So you need to be a junior in standing, need to have a faculty member identified. And the faculty members can be tenure track. And then I did also open up an option for IRC faculty to also mentor students. They just have to get approval from their department chair. So so try to make it as inclusive as possible, because our IRC faculty, a lot of times they do really want to keep working with students outside of the classroom, and they have amazing ideas, and it fits in, and they're great mentors. So
yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'd love that that you were able to open that up to a very large population on our campus who absolutely are fantastic mentors and have often done research, even if it wasn't officially in their contract, like are still interested, or maybe did it before coming here and joining the IRC. So I think that's a really, really impactful way to like make sure students have the advising and mentorship that they, really pair with.
Yeah,
I love that. And I like that you removed the GPA requirement as well. Can you walk me through just a little bit more like how that decision came about? Because, it's certainly a very standard practice to like across sort of academia, to put a lot of stock in GPA. But I think that is a shifting perspective. And as we're starting to see, like, maybe GPA isn't the end all be all that it used to be. So how did that kind of come about, and did you experience any challenges they had to like problem solve through to make it happen?
Super good question. So it was one of those instances of like me asking like, okay, but why do we do this? And I mean, there is enough research suggesting like your high GPA does not instantly equate to you being a strong researcher. So it's not a good metric necessarily to show like you really do well in tests, you do well in courses.
Right.
Does that also mean that you can learn hands-on like how to pipette or how to like build a good survey instrument or things like that? Like it's not a one-to-one.
Right. They are different skills, but like fundamentally, like certainly they help and feed into each other, but studying for a test is a different skill set.
Exactly.
What's required on, creating a survey or giving a good interview and sort of analyzing those responses.
Exactly. So it didn't seem like the appropriate metric to necessarily like be cutting people out of eligibility with. And so what I did is I actually brought the proposal to the Center for Student Research has an executive board made up of faculty from all of our colleges. And I brought this proposal to them and I said, can we try this out for a year or two? Getting rid of the requirement, and I'll document, outcomes from the URA like I always do. And we'll see if anything changes. And it didn't.
Okay.
Like, yes, the average overall GPA of our URA did go down, but we were also more inclusive and opening it up to a lot wider student body. But the students still performed, they still attended all of the workshops. They still presented their research. They still, got so much out of the program that so far we still haven't reinstituted it. So
right. And that is innovation.
Yeah.
Right there. Innovation to support the community. I really love hearing that story. And I had no idea that all those changes happened and you were behind it. Amazing.
Well, thank you.
What is your kind of PhD project focus? Are you doing a thesis for that program? Is it an applied project? Give me some more on what you're working on as a student in that way.
Yeah, so let's see. So we have kind of in place of comprehensive examinations like you do for a PhD, we do, they call it like a synthesis project. So it's a proposal for a research project, which I did last summer. You get approval for that. And then right now I'm in the process of conducting that. So it's a mixed method study. So I have some existing quantitative data from that nationwide faculty study we did years ago. So I get to use that data set, which is great. And then I'm also conducting interviews with faculty mentors now. So I'm really exploring how their own graduate experience kind of socialized and set them up for how they mentor their own research students now. So kind of seeing like, how do they discern like what was the right thing to take from their mentorship and apply it now? And in what ways does that shape their mentorship styles? So that'll be my comprehensive examination essentially. And then I'll be doing a dissertation project. And don't ask me what that's going to be on. I really need to figure that out though.
My coming up with my dissertation topic, I definitely had a few different ideas and kept, kind of pivoting as I continued through, different like courses and, did have to kind of make a decision around comps because the questions I was asked and had to write about needed to set me up and connect right to the dissertation. But I recall that process was exciting with all the different like potential and options and also stressful because of all the different options of like, where do I want to go? So vibes to you and
Thank you. I need those.
Understand. Oh, that is so exciting though. So after you get your PhD, you'll be Dr. Poe, hooray. Would you like to continue in these sort of, directorship types of roles, or would you like to, maybe get in the classroom and teach or something else or a more research focus? Like where would you kind of like your career to go next?
I'm not entirely sure I did. I guess I forgot one of the other roles I had is I did also lecture for psychology. And I also taught GPS here at UCCS, but and then I was an adjunct instructor for years at Pikes Peak State College too. Okay. I love teaching. I really love it. I guess I don't know if I'll go back to doing that too. I do really enjoy the director position. I love the elements of, like program evaluation because I love to, see, well, is it working? We tried something new.
Yeah.
What's the outcome? I really find that just so interesting and
important.
And important, right? Like it can really just, show your impact. I will likely continue in kind of this director role. And I also I so love working with faculty. It's fun and I love our campus community. So
is there maybe a moment from or a strategy or kind of teaching practice that you particularly found useful or loved doing when you're in the classroom? Like what do you think students respond to? Best?
I really think it's them feeling like they've been heard, I guess. Because I think a lot of times, especially in higher education and in large introductory classes, it's you come in, the slide comes up and you take your notes, and it's just kind of like there's a disconnect there. So like I really tried to intentionally foster like listening to them and like applying their input. So not just doing like a mid-semester check-in, but like every single class, like, okay, here's the general outline of what we could learn about the brain today. What are you most interested in though? And like trying to poll, like get them to input on which direction they wanted to take with the learning. And then, just making sure that they feel like they can be an active participant, not just a receiver of knowledge, right?
Info, right? It's not about just getting it in your brain. It's also, okay, how can we think about what we've been thinking about and then apply it and use it and get into, that more metacognitive aspect of learning.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like it's a cheat with psychology because, like, this is that you're learning about. Like, it's so easy to find ways to apply it. So it's so fun.
That is fun. I love that. All right. So turning a little bit more to our community, I'd love to ask, every guest, like, what is your favorite thing about UCCS, especially since you have a bit of a track record here on campus? You've seen it kind of evolve. So what do you love kind of the most about being here? And what would you like to see us continue to maybe evolve or grow?
Yeah. What I really love about UCCS, so I did my undergrad at Boulder. And it's a huge campus. Just so many people. And it's hard to like find a place, I guess, in a sense, just 'cause it's so massive. What I really love about UCCS though is just it's like a small town in a way, like in good ways though. It's like, you can be in line getting coffee and the person standing behind you and you can chat. Whereas like at Boulder, I was never that. I'd see a new face every single time. Like, so it's just, I love that kind of like almost like small town feel of the campus. So many people know others. And I think like moving forward, what I think would be really helpful is if we can just like try to strengthen those connections like cross campus. We do, though we're all not, we've grown so much as a campus since back in my first grad school days when I was getting my master's. We've grown so much, and I do think maybe there's some like siloing happening, and so just trying to make sure that we pay attention to what others are doing too, not just because it's very interesting. Everybody's working on such really cool things. There's so many opportunities for like collaboration and just supporting one another. So
I love that. The sort of size and kind of community impact comes up a lot with folks, and so it definitely is a very clear, evident like trend strength of our campus. I think. I went to Colorado State, so CSU, so a similarly very large, sprawling. Like my smallest, classes in comm studies had like 50, 60.
Right.
And I was like, wow, what an intimate class learning environment. Definitely for me, like that was a big transition coming here as well. Like, oh, there's so many strengths to having a small school in terms of making connections that you just sort of spontaneously see around and not always having to work quite as hard to like maintain that connection. Where I definitely felt like at the bigger schools, like you had to really work harder to see the people that you wanted to see a little bit, which it's just a different kind of way of working, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, as we wrap up, anything else that you'd like to say, things you'd like to plug, talk about that might be exciting initiatives on the horizon in the next year or so?
The next year, okay. It's funny. I was just like trying to plan out like already our fall semester and what we'll be doing for Office of Faculty Affairs. But kind of start off with our new faculty orientation. It's an all-day event for the new faculty, but the fun part for campus is you can come to the reception and welcome our new faculty. So it's just a great opportunity to bring them into the community and
bring it into our strength. Start forming those connections now. Hey, I saw you at orientation. In fact, most of my like friend group that I have here, we met at orientation kind of together and actually did the thing where I'm like, I'm going to get your number and I'm going to actually like text you so we can hang out again. And then we did. And now, I have friends. So
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's so valuable, especially for those coming from out of state, which are so many of them, right?
a lot, actually.
Yeah. So
That's great. I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining. This was really, really good to learn a lot more about the staff kind of side of things as well, because we do have, I think, so much conversation emphasis often goes into like research or faculty or students, which we love. Come on the show. But I really appreciate you sharing kind of your experiences on the other side of the house.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And that's today's journey into innovation. Now, when to explore the research and ideas we mentioned today, everything is linked in the show notes. If you want to be a guest, I'd love to hear your story. Find the submission form at our website, c3innovation.uccs.edu. Innovation Springs is a production of C3 Innovation at the UCCS Kramer Family Library. Studio recording is provided by the Garage at EPIIC. Hayley Blackburn is an affiliate faculty member in the Digital Humanities Center. Theme music is from Simon Trumpf-Lipine, Dreaming of Innovation, Storyblocks. Follow at c3innovation.uccs on social media and check out our website for events, programs, and more opportunities. For more content on the digital humanities, head over to labs.uccs.edu/CREFDH. And for more innovation initiatives, go over to EPIIC.uccs.edu with our friends in EPIIC. See you next episode.